DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin with DreAllDay.com. Let's talk strategy today. Strategy is simply your approach. It is your plan of action for what you are doing. And one of the biggest challenges that people have these days is they're operating either with no strategy or a faulty strategy. A strategy that simply is not going to work. But because of people, out there, including myself, I take part of the blame for this, who put out messages of mindset, motivation, confidence, mental toughness, those things. People take those messages and they basically use that to try to overcome the fact that their strategy sucks. Listen, no amount of mindset, confidence, discipline, self-belief can overcome a garbage strategy. And it's funny because just today I sent out a text I send out a daily motivation text every day. The number's down in the description. I sent out the text today that said we had a right attitude, facts and reality, quote unquote, don't matter. And I mean that, but there's semantics behind it. I mean it in a certain, it matters in a certain context. But in a text message, you can't give people context. You just got to give them that. So that's going to uplift some people and make them feel good, but it's also going to delude some people into thinking, oh, well, I got the right attitude, so it doesn't matter what the reality of the situation is. This is how people end up being delusional and telling themselves they can succeed when they don't have anything in place that's going to make it work. But at the same time, there are examples of people who have done exactly that. So that's where the juxtaposition between these ideas come in. So here's a way that you can more credibly guarantee your success is when you not only have the mindset and all the mental stuff that you hear from me and others, but also having a strategy that will actually get you to the outcome that you want to get to. And this is very important, especially in places like the business world. Anything that involves money is business, by the way, because a lot of things that happen in business are very subjective, which means you got to have a good strategy, because even if you execute something that worked 2 years ago or 2 months ago, doesn't mean it's going to work again today. You have to constantly adjust and evolve your strategy. You have to constantly modify your plans based on the way things change around you, because the world is always changing. People are always changing. Mindsets change. And circumstances cause people to think and do things differently than they would in other circumstances. So these are things that you always have to keep in mind. That's why a strategy is not just color by numbers. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Strategy is also about how do you make an adjustment and how do you change on the fly if and when you need to. And guarantee you will need to. There will be a win as to when you need to make a change on the fly because something changed on you. So now you got to change. That's why strategy matters so much. Now that I've sold you on the concept of strategy, how do you actually get a strategy? 2 ways you can get a strategy. One way is the deconstruction process, and that's based on any success that you've achieved in life when you weren't even conscious about the fact that you achieved the success. Now, this one doesn't happen that often. This is more rare for several reasons. Number one, many times when people are trying to get success and they're listening to this, what I'm talking about here on strategy, they have not yet achieved any success that they can deconstruct and they would want to do again because you simply don't have the accomplishments yet. So that's one reason why this is rare. So many of you, this will not apply. And the other reason why this is rare is because there are people who have achieved success and they could kind of explain it to you in some ways, or they think they could explain it, but often, sometimes people reach success without even knowing what they did, and they either they got that success because of some blind luck or talent that other people simply cannot replicate, which means you can't give it to anybody else because they can't be as talented as you and they're not going to be as lucky as you are, or B, some people just don't have the communication skills to articulate and explain how they do what they do. This is like somebody who is really good at making like I called my grandma once and I wanted her to tell me the recipe for bread pudding. Because I'm in Miami, she's in Philadelphia. I wanted her to tell me the recipe so I can make my own bread pudding. And she used to make bread pudding and I liked it a lot. When she was like, well, I can't tell you the recipe because I don't go off a recipe. She was like, she's one of them old women that just go off of, they just know how to make stuff, but they couldn't explain it. She's like, when I make bread pudding, I can do it by eye. I can just put the stuff in there, but I don't know how much of anything. I don't measure. She just knew how to make it. So she couldn't explain it to me. So I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the strategy. Therefore, I couldn't make my own bread pudding. That's what happens with a lot of people when they have created success and they want to help other people with it, but you can't explain it because you don't even know what you did. You couldn't explain it to yourself, let alone to another person. So here's the other option then. Since if you haven't had the success already that you can deconstruct yourself, what you do is you go find someone who already knows how to help people achieve success in a certain area and or has achieved that success in that area themselves. They don't have to have both. Sometimes it can be one or the other. Now, if you get someone who's already achieved the success, they got to have the communication skill. They have to be able to articulate how to do it so they can teach you. And some people are successful, but they can't explain, so they can't make other people successful. So make sure they have the communication skill. And sometimes there are people who can help you become successful in a certain area, but they personally didn't do it. That does not disqualify them. This is why, I mean, look around in sports, for example. You see a lot of really good coaches who were not great. They were not amazing as players, but all the people who they coach are amazing, right? So it doesn't disqualify a person if they haven't personally done a thing to help you. And also, sometimes the thing that a person is helping you do is based on they have specific domain knowledge in a certain area that will help you do things, but it has no bearing. The fact that whether they've done it or not has no bearing on whether it helps you. So this is why you have to be discerning about what information or what insights or what strategies do I actually need that are going to help me get to where I want to get to. And a lot of times, if you're inaccurate on that, you think you need A, B, and C, but you actually need X, Y, and Z, then you could even get help from somebody but still not get to where you want to get to because you got the wrong help, because you asked the wrong question. You didn't know what you needed to ask. And if you talk to the right person, who's a coach or a trainer or something like that, this conversation should be the first conversation that they're having with you, which is trying to figure out what exactly do you actually need. And it might not be them. You might need someone other than them. I was talking to someone in my text last night going into today, and this person is talking about they want to lose weight and get in shape. And I'm like, well, how much weight you trying to lose? They said 50 pounds. I said, why? They say they want to get into the military. That's the only thing in their way. Now, as much as I would love to be able to help this person, that ain't my area of expertise. So I'm going to push them and tell them to go find yourself a personal trainer, someone who can actually get in the gym with you every day, because if it was just a matter of giving you a list of exercises to do, then I could help them. But that's clearly not their issue, because they said they stopped working out a while ago. They haven't really been doing anything for it. So what they need is somebody to hold their hand and be in the facility with them and make them actually do the workouts. Because if they could do it on their own, then it'd be a different conversation. So it's not me. I'm not the person who could probably help them. Now, if they needed different help, then it'd be a different conversation. So a good coach or trainer should be able to suss this out. Like, what do you actually need? And is what you need something that I can and am willing to provide? If the answer is no, they will send you elsewhere. They won't just try to do it just to get your money. That's the point, the reason I'm sharing that part. But when it comes to strategy, you must have a clear plan of action of what you are doing. And if what you've been doing up to this point has not gotten you the outcome that you want, you need a different strategy. And here's another key point. Your strategy shouldn't be coming from the person who got you into the bad strategy in the first place. That person would be you. So right now, if you're not getting the outcomes that you want, and this whole last year you were doing everything based off of your ideas and your strategy that you compiled, and it did not get you to where you wanted to be, you are fired from the job of being the chief strategist in your life and in your career. You're fired. You need to go get strategy from someone who knows better than you, someone who has taught others, someone who has done it themselves, and someone who can explain it and articulate it. This is your responsibility. Do not put it on yourself to go do something that you have already proven that you are incapable of doing. And I'm not saying to make you feel bad. I'm saying that to help you understand that when you have the wrong people in the wrong jobs, you're going to end up with the wrong outcomes. And sometimes you are that wrong person in the wrong job. And you have to be mature enough and disciplined enough to understand that, accept it, and then make different choices. The challenge with a lot of people is that they just delude themselves into thinking that they're just going to do everything on their own, and then 10 years go by, they still haven't done it, and they still bullshit themselves. The fact of the matter is, most people, they can listen to what I'm saying right now and agree with me, and then you're going to keep doing the same stuff you've always been doing. You want to get a different outcome, you must change your approach. And that means you need to fire yourself from coming up with approaches. You're fired from that job because you already had the job and you failed. So get somebody else on the job. There's nothing wrong with firing yourself from a job that you shouldn't be doing. For example, I have a podcast, comes out every single day. It's called Work on Your Game. It has over 2,400 episodes. You know how many hours of recording that is? That's a lot. I don't like doing audio editing. I don't like posting posts up on websites and on the blog and making sure that the stuff goes on the Apple and Spotify. I don't like doing any of that stuff. So you know what I did? I fired myself from that job. I have an audio person who does all of that. I don't do any of it. All I do is record it. When the file's done recording, I upload it into the cloud. They do everything else. We got a whole process. They know exactly what to do. I don't do anything else. All I do is record the material. That's what I do best. I fired myself from every other job. You need to do the exact same thing and fire yourself from jobs that either you don't like or that you have proven to not be good at. If you're not good at a job, fire yourself from the job. The only person you're hurting is yourself, because you're trying to do something and you're not good at it. And you're just you're going backwards because you're failing to move forward and the world is moving forward. So you're going backward by definition. So all that said, I want you to text me, tell me the best insight or idea you got from this video. My number is 305-384-6894. Text me and tell me the best thing you got from this video. Tell me what you're going to do different based on what you heard in this video. Secondly, my next event, Work on Your Game Live, is happening February 3rd and 4th down here in Miami, Florida. Get your ticket at workonyourgame.live. The link is down below in the description of this video. And third, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where you can work with me directly. That's where all my courses are. That's where my coaching programs are. I send out a physical mailing every single month. That's some deep writing, my masterclass black book, and my bulletproof bulletin. Those are all inside of the university. So go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link is down in the description as well. Work on your game. Dre all day.